Those were some of President-elect's closest allies condemning BuzzFeed, the news organization, for their decision to release that 35-page dossier, if you will, of unsubstantiated allegations, probably false, about Donald Trump. They weren't the only ones. As we mentioned, BuzzFeed came under harsh criticism by a number of news organizations today. We're back now with Katie Tur, Gabe Sherman, Andrew Sullivan, and Hugh Hewitt. And we're joined right now by Rick Stengel, who was managing editor of Time and a former undersecretary, actually Deputy Secretary of State for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us. Ben Bradley, the great editor of all times of the Washington Post, who broke the Watergate story with the help of Woodward Bernstein, once said, "To edit is to choose." It seems to me that when you're given pile of stuff that's salacious and can potentially be career destroying, even for at least reputation destroying for anybody, including a president elect, you decide whether it's true or not. You don't act in reckless disregard.
Yes, I wouldn't. Reckless disregard. We'll get to that in a second. I would not have published it. It wasn't a news story. It was something that was included in an intelligence briefing. I'd like to know why that is. But
it wasn't included as intelligence. It was included as an addendum described in the papers as disinformation. Which
is another reason not to publish it. If it had been something like the Pentagon Papers, then you do that. But what concerns me more is what some of the panelists have said already. I mean, the president-elect has talked about narrowing libel laws in this country. It's very hard under the First Amendment to libel a public figure. It's almost impossible to libel a president. The reason that speech is protected is because we have to speak truth to power.
But is this truth?
This is not necessarily, but this will go into what he might do to the press during the course of his presidency,
okay,
which is worrying.
Richard, thanks for being here. Let me start with Katie about the tactics he uses, okay? You've been sympathetic to his situation today, but let's go with the larger question. He gets personal attacks against yourself and other journalists who cover him day to day. He engages in sleight of hand where he gets to take a glistening object, and it's very smart PR, and shifts away from what is the fundamental question of today, which is he going to disentangle himself from Trump enterprises? And third, he punishes people openly today, punishing a CNN report in front of everybody like a nun in school. You're not going to get an answer, ask a question today. Meanwhile, patting on the heads of reporters he likes today, or says he likes. So he's engaging in all his tactics today.
Tactics, it makes it seem like there's a strategy at hand. I think this is just very inherently Donald Trump. He's got a thin skin, and he is out for revenge when he wants to get it. He calls himself a counter-puncher, and this is what we're seeing. But by going after reporters, reporters personally, by calling them names, by calling organizations names, by lifting one up as he tears another down, what he does is he creates an alternate universe where he can say, this is where the truth is, this is my truth, and this is the only truth that matters. And that is what he was able to do today, and that is what he did so successfully during the campaign. He was able to paint the media as this elite target, this elite force that was not out there for anybody but themselves and their own special interests, and not out for the American public. And by undercutting us, he took away all of the ability to hold him up to facts, to hold him accountable for what he said, because he made us people who were never telling the truth.
Well, unintentionally, Gabe, he didn't make us a pack. He's basically saying there are good people and bad people. He didn't accuse the press going back to Joe McCarthy was mentioned earlier by Hugh. He didn't go to the pack, the jackal pack. He didn't do that. Interesting. What do you make of his tactics generally?
Well, you know, today especially was fascinating because it was a divide and conquer strategy. I mean, I was at the press conference this morning, and by singling out BuzzFeed and CNN, he tried to play to the other members of the press corps, and it was effective. And I thought by Donald Trump's standards, he was calm, confident, jocular. He was mixing it up with reporters, and fundamentally, he did not answer the substantive questions about his finances and conflicts of interest. So from Trump's standpoint, today was a total victory.
Okay, let me start with the other people because everybody's getting short. It's a busy night tonight. Hugh Hewitt and then Andrew Sullivan. Did Trump win today in this battle between him and the press and how he wants to look?
Only in this regard did he lose. He wanted to talk about his finances today, Chris, because there was this elaborate establishment of a new trust for the Trump organization. I've been waiting weeks to see it. It has got a lot of detail in it. It makes sense to me. I think he met the bar, but there are some critics like Lawrence Tribe at Harvard who say he did not. The emoluments clause. It was a good day for news for him. Could have had a better day, and BuzzFeed I really did a disservice to the media today.
Andrew.
We still do not know if he has any financial connections with Russia, and today he said he would never release his tax returns, treating the media and the free press with contempt. We still don't know if his campaign had any contact with Russian officials. Those are the two most important questions. Yeah. By divide and conquer, and by throwing up a bunch of distractions, and by ruling all media fake news, which is what his goal is, that's the authoritarian, that's the tyrannical impulse that propels this man, and who really doesn't understand what a liberal democracy is all about.
Well said. Thank you. We'll be right back after this.